The Ford Ranger has been putting up a good fight for sales in the very competitive bakkie market, and that's even in the face of the launch of the latest generation of South Africa's favourite bakkie, the Toyota Hilux. And the reason the Ranger does so well is because it offers a lot, and I don't just mean in terms of the vehicle itself. The Ford Ranger has more variants than any other bakkie lineup, and now thanks to the introduction of a 2.2-litre diesel automatic drivetrain, you now have a choice of 36 individual models. The extra model doesn't come with anything in the way of cosmetic changes. It has the same no-nonsense attitude that's won it so many fans already. A big grille is matched to other chunky elements to give the Ranger its own sense of bakkie identity, which, depending on spec, gives you varying degrees of style. The new drivetrain components aren't new in the real sense of the word. It's the same 6-speed automatic you get in the 3.2-litre diesel Ranger, and we've driven that before. Similarly, the 2.2-litre diesel motor in here with 118 kilowatts, 385 newton meters, has been around for about a year now. But this is the first time the two things have been offered as a combo, and we're going to find out how well they do, particularly in off-road conditions. An automatic gearbox offers more convenience around town, but in terms of off-road driving, particularly on difficult terrain where low range is required, it can delete some user-friendliness because you need to rely on its software rather than your own skill and experience. We decided to test our skill in the dunes of Vleesbaai in the Eastern Cape. When you think about it, dune driving is probably one of the better places to see how well an automatic gearbox does in off-road conditions. Because of the slippery surface and the constantly changing grip, the torque demands are also constantly shifting, so in order to stop you getting bogged down, the gearbox has to keep up. The Ranger's Autobox does just that, seamlessly shifting when needed without ever feeling like it's having a difficult time deciding which cog to select for the conditions. Those cogs, by the way, have been geared specifically for the South African market, so it should be good to go on any local off-road adventure. And it seems like it'll make that adventure as easy as possible. I've purposely stayed away from using the manual mode in this Ranger, and it's perfectly capable and willing to do all the work for you. In fact, it goes a step further than that. The Gearbox software has a function that learns your driving style, so in theory, over time, using the manual mode should be an absolute rarity. The 2.2-litre turbodiesel also copes well in the dirt, delivering enough power to keep things going along smoothly with good responses from low down in the rev range. The combination feels good on-road as well, every bit as enjoyable as off it. There is one small downside to this particular drivetrain combination, and that's that it's not offered in top-of-the-range XLT spec. So if you want the full list of Ford's options, you have to go for the more expensive 3.2-litre diesel. That said, this XLS spec does keep things pretty comfortable for a bakkie. It still relies on a rather button-heavy interface for the various systems, but in terms of comfort and convenience, there is a lot to like. Bluetooth with voice command, USB interface, cruise control, it all combines with comfortable seats and a general sense that you're being well looked after. While we've been enjoying some really great Eastern Cape scenery and been having some fun in the dunes, there is a definite sadness I'm feeling. And that's because I'm coming to terms with the fact that, like big V12 and big V10 motors, the days of the manual gearbox are numbered. They're being offered in fewer and fewer sports cars, and bakkies are following the same trend. And if you think that a car without a manual gearbox deletes some kind of purist aspect, it really is difficult to argue with a lot of the facts behind the trend. They are more efficient, and with the technology having advanced to the point that it's at today, that doesn't come at the expense of driving enjoyment. And then there's the economic factor. Ford will tell you that locally, in cases where their models are offered with both manual and auto options, there's been a steady decline in the sales of manuals. All of which is factored into Ford's reasoning for offering the drivetrain across 9 variants. Opting for the 2.2-litre diesel automatic Ford Ranger may mean you don't get all the interior toys and that you have to settle for entry-level power, but it's done nothing to take away from the brilliance that is the Ford Ranger. The Ranger's new automatic gearbox and 2.2-litre diesel combination works well, whether it's chucked into some challenging dunes or given some open road to cruise on. The whole package is as good looking, comfortable and capable as ever, although it's not available in Ford's top XL T-spec. It may be pricier than most of its direct competition, but it's also the only automatic option.